We are a little over a week away. We still have 4 contestants, 2 on the women's side, 2 on the men's side that have yet to be determined. But let's have a little thought example here. Let's have a little, I don't know what we want to call this. Let's have a little fun here with this. June 7th. Is it June 7th or June 9th? Let's look this up. When is Money in the Bank? Because my notes say one thing. It's June 7th, so I'm not sure why I put June 9th on the graphic, but disregard the graphic, just listen to me. June 7th, 2025, next Saturday, will be the Money in the Bank PLE emanating from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California. We already mentioned that we're going to get John Cena and Logan Paul against Cody Rhodes and the World Heavyweight Champion main event, Jey Uso. But what we also will have is 2 ladder matches to determine the women's and the men's Money in the Bank winners. Last year, we had Drew McIntyre win the men's Money in the Bank, and by the end of the night, that was already burned through. He tried to take it from Damian Priest, CM Punk in one of many different times, screwed over Drew McIntyre, and in the process, screwed over Seth Rollins as well. And the men's Money in the Bank briefcase was no more after that night. Tiffany Stratton won on the women's side, and that was actually well executed as she held on to it for months and months and months before cashing in on Nia Jax, and she is still the WWE Women's World Champion. So now I want to look at these 2 matchups, men's and women's, and tell you who I believe should win the Money in the Bank briefcase. Let me know in the comment section your selection and who you would like to see walk away with the briefcase on June 7th. In the men's side of things, as of this recording, we have Penta, Seth Rollins, as mentioned earlier, Solo Sikoa, which is an interesting addition, and L.A. Knight. So the question becomes, who should win the men's Money in the Bank briefcase? Seth Rollins would be interesting, obviously, for everything we discussed earlier. He's trying to shape the future of the industry, and the easiest way to do that is to have him holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. Not to mention the fact that it was so entertaining the last time he held on to it. Why not replicate that in 2025? Yeah, that would be amazing. LA Knight with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Could you imagine the pop whenever LA Knight would come out to cash in? It would be enormous. One of the biggest that we have seen in years. So that could be interesting. Solo Sikoa, I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I don't think we've seen enough for me to say, yeah, I'd like to see him win the Money in the Bank briefcase. I want to see more of him with JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb. He's still Jeff Cobb to me. And Jacob Fatu and what's all going to happen there. I don't necessarily want to see him come away with the briefcase next Saturday. Penta would be great because everything Penta's done so far has been great. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go off the board, at least off the board that is currently presented to us. And I'm going to say one person that should win the Money in the Bank briefcase is Carmelo Hayes. He was the first round pick to SmackDown in the 2024 WWE draft, and they really haven't followed up much on it. They certainly didn't throughout the calendar year of 2024. The only things that we saw that were mildly worthy of his talents was the best of 7 series with Andrade, and even that was ruined by the fact that the 7th match was tossed out by LA Knight because he was the special guest referee, and he just could not contain himself, and he could not call it straight, and he could not hold his composure as both people were accidentally or on purpose getting physical with him. So that was the only thing they utilized Carmelo for in 2024. I think we all know there is many more things that they can utilize him for. Hence, the reason he was the Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner going into WrestleMania on WrestleMania weekend. That was great. It's a nice moment. It's a nice feather in the cap, but you need to follow it up. Now he's linked in with The Miz, and he's doing stuff with Aleister Black, and it's all entertaining. And every time he has a match, well, it's entertaining simply because he can hang in ring with absolutely anyone. But I think it's time that they seriously start pushing Carmelo Hayes up the card, especially on Friday Night SmackDown, which right now is John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton. That's the cream of the crop. That's the top of the line. That's the bar right now on Friday Night SmackDown. And then really, it is a dogfight for the top of that second tier. You could put Damian Priest into that. You could put Drew McIntyre into that, but it seems like he's going to be taking some time off because, well, if you think about the matches he's been in over the past calendar year, yeah, it makes sense. His body has been taking a beating. Carmelo Hayes, I think, would fit perfectly in that second tier. Him and LA Knight and Damian Priest. You need one heel in that group, and I think Carmelo Hayes could be that. So I think on the men's side, it should be Carmelo Hayes. And that brings us to the women's side, which to me is actually a little bit more cut and dry, a little bit simpler to parcel out based on what we've seen so far. Alexa Bliss, Julia, Roxanne Perez, and Rhea Ripley have all qualified as of this recording. I think the one obvious one is Rhea Ripley definitely does not need this. I don't think we need to see Mommy in the Bank. I just don't. I think somebody who has been able to basically beat anybody that she gets in the ring with, who did not even, I believe, take the pinfall at WrestleMania. I don't think she needs Money in the Bank. And I don't think her cashing in, although again, similar to LA Knight, the pop whenever Rhea Ripley's music hits while she has the Money in the Bank briefcase would be enormous. It just doesn't make sense with her. She doesn't really need it. She can just run the gauntlet of any other contenders, get to the top of the line very quickly, and then dismantle whoever the champion is. No shade to Tiffany Stratton or Io Sky, but anytime Rhea Ripley is in the ring, I think you have to have at least a 45% chance or a 45% thought process of she could win this thing. It's 50-50, probably honestly 50-50 at least. Meanwhile, Alexa Bliss, I don't know what the plan is with her. She's doing some weird side stuff with Charlotte Flair outside of qualifying for Money in the Bank. So I'm not sure her winning feels like something that could happen here in the next 10 days. And that leaves the two rookies right now on the board. I don't think anybody off the board I feel confident enough to put in there like I did with Carmelo Hayes. But the two on the board right now, the two rookies, Roxanne Perez on Monday Night Raw and Julia on Friday Night SmackDown. With Roxanne, she has everything going on with Finn Balor and the Judgment Day. I don't know how that's going to end. It feels like Finn Balor is pulling the strings and Roxanne is putting on an Oscar-worthy performance to try to dismantle the group from the inside out. But either way, it feels like adding a Money in the Bank briefcase to that entire situation is not something that we're going to see happen. It feels like they have enough steam there to get Roxanne over on Monday Night Raw alongside Finn Balor, and they can move on and continue to build over on Mondays. That leaves Julia, somebody who WWE has a lot of faith in, who WWE believes could be one of the faces of the women's division. Somebody who was one of the faces of the NXT women's division alongside Stephanie Vaquer over the last handful of months. Let's not forget, a calendar year ago, Julia wasn't in WWE. She came to WWE, I think it was around a year ago, actually, and she quickly became the top of NXT, the face of NXT, and now she's already on the main roster. I think Julia winning would be an early statement that this is not just another NXT call-up. This is somebody who is going to be battling it out with Io Sky, battling it out with Tiffany Stratton, battling it out with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley to be one of the faces of what is quickly becoming a very, very stacked women's division in WWE. We have talked ad nauseum about how much talent is in the NXT women's division. Now is when that starts to permeate into the main roster with Roxanne on Monday Night Raw, doing her thing with Finn Balor, doing her thing with the Judgment Day, and Julia, who in my opinion should be the 2025 women's Money in the Bank winner. Now, outside of that, the one thing I will say, I want to see long runs with both briefcases whoever wins, if it's Carmelo and Julia, who I would love to see, if it is Seth Rollins, if it is LA Knight, if it is Rhea Ripley, I don't want to see a same night cash in. We saw it last year. I don't think it's worth it. I want to see a couple long runs from this year's Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank. I think that is something that we would all benefit from, especially considering the world champions that we currently have with Io Sky and Tiffany Stratton, two that I think that anytime you put them in the ring to defend their titles are going to put on an absolute show. And then on the men's side of things, you have Jey Uso, who has a lot going on already. Thinking about Money in the Bank on top of that throughout all of this process would add just another layer of drama. And then John Cena. I mean, could you imagine John Cena, the last real champion, worried about a Money in the Bank cash in? I think we could get a lot out of that as well. So I want to see long runs from both. On the women's side, I'd love to see it be Julia. On the men's side, I think it should be Carmelo Hayes.